Now, the Subway Final Word.
Good evening, I'm Albie Oxenrider. Welcome to the Subway Final Word. This is the show that invites you, the fans, into the conversation. You can get your opinion on TV right here every Sunday night. Thank you for staying up with us. And let's get started by introducing you to tonight's distinguished panel. Distinguished? That's an understatement. On the left side is Rob Rossi from Trib Total Media, Trib columnist. In the center of your screen is John Staggerwald from Trib Live Radio. Hi, John. Yeah, thanks for that, since Mark's not here. But the other Mark is here. Mark Cabali, Trib, Steelers, ready to go. Has a power tie on as well. All right, let's get started with some of the topics we'll be talking about tonight. The Penguins, how they're going to get along without Pascal Dupuis. The Pirates, where should they spend that money? Where to spend all that money that they were going to give to Russell Martin? And which program looks better right now, Pitt or Penn State? First, a look at the big topic for tonight. It's the Steelers. And we have a question for you. Will the decision to cut LeGarrette Blount come back to hurt the Steelers? Mark Cabali, I was with you at Steelers headquarters when Blount was released earlier this week. He scored 2 touchdowns today for the Pats.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to hurt him whatsoever. I mean, it's all depending on whether Le'Veon Bell can stay healthy or not. But I do believe the Steelers believe that he's going to be healthy. They had to do this. It was actually a no-brainer, and they had to get rid of him. Not too many times in professional sports do you see players come out and call people out like they did on Tuesday, Albie. You were there, and they were calling him out left and right that he was nothing but a bad seed. I don't care if he had 80 yards. I don't care if he had 2 touchdowns today against the Patriots. For the Patriots. He needed to go. They had to make that decision. Give Mike Tomlin credit. Give the Steelers organization credit. We'd be the first ones sitting here complaining if this didn't happen. So I don't think it's going to hurt him whatsoever. It was Le'Veon Bell's job to lose anyways, and they moved on without him. They were moving on with him, so I don't think it's a big loss at all, unless somebody gets hurt.
All right, reminder to keep the tweets coming. You can find us on Twitter at WPXI Final Word. John Staggerwald, what do you think?
I don't know, Mark. That's a pretty big unless. They got a running back who they gave the ball to 35 times last week. I'm sorry, but that's a real big unless for a running back who's going to be carrying the ball that much, not to mention the fact that he has more catches than any running back in the history of the Steelers. There's 2 different issues. Should they have gotten rid of him? I guess so. If he was, if he had worn out his welcome, and maybe they had promised him that if he pulled one more thing, he was out, and they had to stand up to the promise. But if Le'Veon Bell gets hurt, they're down to a guy who's smaller than I am and a guy from the practice squad who played at Wake Forest. They could be hurt big time if Bell should get hurt, and they don't have LeGarrette Blount, who, by the way, no matter what you say about him as a person, he may be an idiot, but he's a beast when he has a football in his hands.
Rob Rossi, what do you think?
I'm struck by a conversation I had in training camp about LeGarrette Blount with the Steelers running back coach, and every time I tried to ask him a question about Blount, he talked about Le'Veon Bell. So I don't understand where the confusion was on LeGarrette Blount's part about what his role was going to be. It seemed to me to be clear as this season went on. If Le'Veon Bell became what the Steelers thought he would become, that LeGarrette Blount would be a glorified backup and a very rarely used backup at that. I think the question is, will this hurt the Steelers? Maybe the question should be, will it hurt the Patriots if Roger Goodell decides to look into how LeGarrette Blount can go through, basically clear an entire roster of NFL teams and then get picked up by the Patriots. It does seem a little fishy.
All right. Remember, your tweets and your Facebook posts will continue to scroll down the left side of your screen. You can find us on Twitter at WPXI Final Word and on Facebook at The Final Word. And from social media, we have this. It was something they had to do, but knowing Blount's annex beforehand, should have been better prepared. Mark, certainly this wasn't LeGarrette Blount's first incident. With that in mind, should the Steelers have been better prepared?
Well, I mean, I guess you could say that. I mean, you look at last year, they didn't have much of a backup plan in place with Le'Veon Bell as well. That's why they went this route. That's why LeGarrette Blount did come on in March. And to answer your question, Rob, I think he was told he was going to be a big part of this offense in March and April and May. And when it got down to the game, things changed. You can't really do it. So, yeah, I think he was told one thing and another thing happened.
All right, let's get another opinion from Twitter. We have a emphatic no. He was bad for the locker room. If Bell hurt, Ben will carry the team. Stag, the possibility of Bell getting hurt seems to be what a lot of people are thinking. If that happens, as the tweet suggests, is it as easy as Ben carrying the team?
Nothing is as easy as people like to make it when it comes to Ben carrying the team. I've heard too many people say, as long as they have Ben Roethlisberger, they'll be fine. No, they won't. They went 8-8 last year. They went 8-8 the year before. I'm pretty sure Ben Roethlisberger played for both of those teams. If they don't have Le'Veon Bell, they're in big trouble. Big trouble.
Rob?
If they have Ben Roethlisberger the rest of the way, they'll be fine.
And with that, we move on. Coming up, where should the Pirates be spending all that Russell Martin money? Plus, the panel's ready to debate Pitt versus Penn State. Which program's in better shape right now? Richard says Akron. Back with more of the Subway Final Word right after this.